The tooth fairy floated down in front of Audrey and Jewel. She was a little taller than them. She was still wearing the same thing she had on when she was in Audrey's attic. She did not, however, have her purple bag with the tooth on it. She was holding her little wand, and her wings were sparkling and fluttering slightly. She smiled at them. It was a beautiful-looking smile. "Hello, girls." Her voice was silky and sweet, and had a British accent that made Audrey a little sleepy. But she was still awake and laughed to herself at the thought of her falling asleep over the Tooth Fairy's voice. Audrey looked at Jewel, who did a tiny curtsy. Audrey did the same. The Tooth Fairy smiled. "I'm so glad that you girls have come," she said sweetly. "I knew that you would be the one coming. I remember being in your attic and becoming slightly startled." Audrey looked down, ashamed. The Tooth Fairy noticed this. "Do not worry, dear Audrey, it was not your fault. I was so focused on my map and searching for your tooth that I did not notice that you had quietly come over to me. I usually do not forget my map when I am collecting teeth, as I have never left a household so quickly. Therefore, I am most appreciative that you girls have returned my map so quickly. Thank you both so much. This is such an important task you girls have done. I do hope it was not any trouble." Audrey and Jewel smiled when the Tooth Fairy said that, remembering Ollie. "No, of course not," said Audrey. "But we did run into the troll Ollie. He was a little scary, but at least we didn't have to talk to him." The Tooth Fairy laughed. Her laugh sounded like tingling bells. "Oh dear, Ollie, yes, he can be quite a handful." Audrey and Jewel nodded in agreement. "Anyway, girls," the Tooth Fairy said, "this way. Follow me, please." Audrey and Jewel followed the Tooth Fairy down the hall towards the doors where she came out of. On the violet and white walls of the hall there were many tooth-shaped frames with pictures of different-looking fairies in them. Audrey looked at all of them. Excuse me, your royal tooth fairiness," the Tooth Fairy laughed. "You may call me Seraphina," she said, and then in a whisper, "You girls will be a part of very few who know my real name." Audrey and Jewel beamed. They knew a very cool secret about the Tooth Fairy now. Audrey started again. "Miss Seraphina, who are all these fairies on the walls?" The Tooth Fairy smiled. "They are all the citizens of this kingdom and village. Each fairy gets a portrait. It's a tradition." "They're wonderful," said Jewel. Audrey nodded in agreement. They walked to the end of the hall to the closed doors. The Tooth Fairy waved her wand, and the door opened. Inside the room were thousands of teeth and bottles everywhere. It looked like a science lab. The walls, ceilings, and floor were all white, and there were windows all around, causing the sun to shine brightly through them, making the room even whiter and brighter, but very shiny and clean. There were shelves of bottles of different colored liquids: aqua, magenta, indigo, lime, lemon, and many more. There were many little fairies all around, dressed in white lab coats, wearing little goggles on their face. Audrey looked around at the room. It was confusing to her. "Miss Seraphina, what is this room?" The Tooth Fairy smiled. "Yes, it is rather confusing, isn't it?" she said softly. "This is the cleaning and examination room where all the teeth I collect get cleaned and fixed so they can go to a special place in my palace. These little fairies you see here are my generous helpers, the Toothies. They make sure that every tooth is perfect and ready to go somewhere in the castle. Go explore, girls." Audrey and Jewel went in the same direction, towards the Toothie with many bottles with the coloring liquids surrounding him. "Hi," said Audrey. "Welcome," squeaked the Toothie. His voice was high-pitched, but also British like the Tooth Fairy's. "Welcome to Toothopia. I do hope you're enjoying yourselves." "Oh, we are, thank you." replied Jewel. The little Toothy beamed. Audrey looked around at all the colored bottles. What are in these bottles? The Toothy picked up 2 bottles and showed it to Audrey and Jewel. This, he squeaked, pointing to a violet-colored bottle, is the most simple one of our potions. Just water and some of Miss Tooth Fairy's magic dust to clean the tooth perfectly. Because her magic can do anything, right, Miss Tooth Fairy? The Tooth Fairy smiled and nodded. That's right, Henry. The Toothy beamed. He held up the second bottle, which was an aqua one, and showed it to Audrey and Jewel. This potion is also water and magic dust, but it also has some minty toothpaste and blueberry juice to give it the aqua color and have it smell minty fresh. They all basically do the same thing. They just smell a little different, whether it's mint or cherries or daisies. It will make Miss Tooth Fairy's palace smell delightful. I think it's awesome, said Jewel. Thank you, said Henry happily. Would you girls like to come help me for a little bit? Audrey and Jewel smiled excitedly. Oh, Miss Seraphina, can we? They asked. Of course, girls, the Tooth Fairy replied. Have fun. Oh, wonderful, cried Henry. Come, let's get you both a coat and goggles. A few minutes later, Audrey and Jewel were wearing white lab coats over their spring dresses and their eyes protected by goggles and were on either side of Henry helping him with the teeth and potions. Henry had Jewel mix the potions after he added the ingredients. After Jewel finished stirring, Henry would dip a tooth into the potion and give it to Audrey and have Audrey take it out with her gloves and clean the tooth with the potion until it was nice and shiny. And then she would put it in a glass vase next to her at the end of the table, filled with lots of other teeth. Henry and the girls worked while the Tooth Fairy walked around the lab and watched and talked to the other Toothies. Audrey and Jewel were having a great time helping Henry and the other Toothies. Audrey never ever wanted this fun to end.